Right now we're on a ranch about 6 miles to the south of Tombstone, Arizona, and we are basically doing a video here for sun pumps. They came down and they installed a solar power system specifically to run our irrigation pivot that we have on approximately 40 acres in a field where we're raising grass for our cattle here. It's a cow-calf operation that we have here on the ranch. Now, the reason that we were very interested in solar to begin with is that this ranch is totally off-grid. There's no electric power, no service that's run to here. So before, we did have the pivot installed previously, but the problem that we were having was when it was installed to run with a basically a gas, or we was using a propane motor to drive both the electric as well as the pump for the pivot. But then gas prices, as everybody knows, continued to rise, and it became economically unfeasible for us to continue to use propane or any other type of say petrol or fossil type of fuel. The tank on that was approximately 1,000-gallon propane tank. Now at the time when we were using it, it cost about $2,000 to fill that tank. And what we were able to do is essentially get, because we have half of the field done with the pivot, so we were able to rotate the pivot to the end and then bring it back off of that tank, maybe a little bit more. So it was costing us essentially $2,000 to get that one swing. So that's why over the years we did look at solar, and Sun Pumps was actually the only company that we had contacted that could come up with a solution on this type of scale for us to run a pivot. And we've been told that we are one of the, if not only one of the very few center pivot irrigation systems that have solar in the country right now. So essentially what Sun Pumps did is, we contacted them. They came down here. The meetings were very friendly, very informative to us. We told them, the requirements that we had. They came down. Their staff is very knowledgeable. They provided a solution, pretty quick, I do have to admit. And then after we gave them the go, it was just a matter of them getting a team down here, which they got it scheduled in. I think they actually had the panels in, it was maybe a month and a half, maybe even less, from the time they got all the soil samples, things like that done, to the time they got the panels up. Now I'm standing inside just a normal small shipping connex is what we use, and what we did is we had them put this is what they call a drive unit. Now this drive unit is essentially, I like to refer to as sort of like a brain of the system. They have a controller that sends the electric and everything to the pump, the irrigation pump, as well as the center pivot to run the electrics in there. We are running a 3-phase system, so that is what you see, the Outback systems right there. They're totally sealed. We do have southern Arizona, a bit of a dust problem down here at times. So we did choose the Outback because they are totally sealed, which of course does help keep the dust out, we hope. And then also in the background there you have the battery charge controller. The Rubbermaid boxes right here is where we hold the batteries. And the batteries are strictly for the center pivot itself. Now with the center pivot, we are capable of running it strictly off of battery. Now where it comes into play is, you have cloud cover come over and say the pump shuts down, or for whatever reason there's just not enough sun to power both the pump and the pivot. We can run the center pivot itself off of battery alone. So in the morning or in the evening when there's not enough sun to run the pump, the batteries are actually charging. We got the charge controller, and it gives us a good smooth power to the center pivot. Now, kind of going back to the economics of the whole, say, putting the solar array system in. I did mention that the propane that we were using for the motor. Now, with the solar array, depending on the speed of the pivot, we can do that essentially every other day. We can one day go out, one day come back. So to us, it's you do have a significant initial cost with the solar array and the installation and everything. But once that's done, that's a sunk cost. You're done paying. So essentially, every time that thing runs, every 2 days, it's basically saving us $2,000 right there. That was at the time we were filling it. I'm not even sure what it would cost in today's dollars. Now with the solar array, between the say the grants that we did receive from both the electric company as well as, I believe it was a federal grant, it paid for essentially half of the system, almost half of it. So, I believe, I don't know exactly how many years it would take to recoup the cost, but I'm estimating, say, 5 to 10 years is when we're at the break-even point, and after that, it's all, say, money in the bank.